Okay, so at this point, we have so few things remaining here. Not a lot of options. What's up, Uriel? How's it going? Now, still multiplayer tomorrow, yes, but we start multiplayer usually at 1 p.m. my time, and usually, you know, if we're streaming Mass Effect Legendary Edition until 4 a.m., sometimes later, and not getting to bed until like 5 a.m. sometimes, then that makes it really, really hard to do anything over the weekend. So we might keep it a little bit shorter today. But anyways, we have very few missions remaining here. So it's mostly Citadel-related stuff, Aria-related stuff, or Priority Horizon, which is the next main quest mission. Cerberus may be using the Sanctuary facility on Horizon as a cover for secret activity. Land on Horizon to search for clues about their operations. And that is what we have planned today. What's up, Slasher? How's it going? How's it going? Yeah, see, the thing is, like, that's almost every single week. So every once in a while, I mean, usually I say, we'll end earlier tonight, and then that's inevitably when we end up going till 5 or, yeah, like 5 a.m. So it's a little rough sometimes. So this time though, usually I just power through it. Today, I think we're not going to be able to do that because there are legitimately other things that I need to do. But anyways, that's all an aside, because we are planning to do Priority Horizon here, and for that, let's check out our galaxy map, because you may recognize the name Horizon. Obviously, Desponia here is where... Desponia? I thought the I was after the N. Anyways, this is where we discovered the Leviathan, which was a huge bit of intel that we got on the origins of the Reapers. Despite this, in the original Mass Effect, being a DLC, pretty core information there you would have assumed would have been part of the base game, but that's why, if you are playing along and doing Mass Effect 3 for the first time, and you're maybe not doing every single mission, do not dismiss Leviathan as just any old little DLC. No, it's important from a plot standpoint for that reason. Oh, it did not restock our fuel. Usually that happens after we finish a big mission. I mean, we're headed back to the mass relay system anyway, so even if we do run out, we're going to get teleported there for free, so it's not a huge deal, but it is a little alarming how low we are on fuel. We're fine. Don't worry about it. We're totally fine. Yeah, I hope we don't need more fuel. Because now, let's see where to next, because I think we have, at this point, basically everything fully explored, at least of the things that we can explore. So there's not really much else for us to be doing other than heading straight to this next mission, because at this point, there's not much additional time to do that exploration. Did we go? Yes, we did. I remember we went to Kepler Verge and we tried exploring and scanning and what have you, but for whatever reason, it was empty. So that shouldn't be anything that we're too concerned about. Wait, hold on. Whoa! Excuse me. What happened to the far rim? And the Perseus Veil, it just completely disappeared. Apparently, we are not even able to visit the Quarians or the Geth after doing... Was it Leviathan that made that happen? That's very odd. I mean, certainly there are some missions that are time-gated in Mass Effect 3, but I would have at least thought we'd still be able to visit those areas if we wanted to. I did not realize those were going to go away. In fact, I wonder if that's just a little oddity after finishing Leviathan for whatever reason. I'm not sure. But yeah, everything here at 100%. I don't think we have anything big that we're looking to buy at the Citadel before we head off to our next big mission, although you could potentially justify doing that because I think we're doing pretty well from a money's standpoint. Yeah, I mean, we could buy one of those big weapons if we'd like to. We had a few shotguns that we were thinking about picking up because, what, we have Crusaders, really the only big one we have right now? Yeah, there's nothing else in the Far Rim anyway, and we've already explored it and all that stuff, so it's no big deal. It's just a little bit alarming that they disappeared. Planning on finishing the game today? No, definitely not. We still have several DLCs remaining. So we'll do the main quest mission here. We will do sanctuary here. Little on the fence as whether we might want to take a quick pit stop at the Citadel just to see if we want to purchase any of those nice shotguns, because we have the Crusader, yes. There were some other ones we were eyeing. We've not yet purchased the Piranha or the Wraith, or there might have been one more that we were thinking of, which generally they were pretty expensive, so I'm not 100% sure we can afford them right now. But it might be worth a quick double check. Okay, so let's make a quick stop at the Citadel. And we'll just verify what, if anything, we might want to purchase, because we do have a lot of money remaining.
You're cleared to dock, Normandy. Do you need ground transport?
So let's go embassies, because I think we're going to the Spectre
Yes,
Terminal.
Commander.
And that's probably pretty much the only place that we're looking to purchase stuff, because there are certainly still some weapons at the main Presidium area. But generally, we've already purchased the ones that we feel are most necessary for us here. So let's poke our head in here and see what, if anything, of interest we may be able to afford. Because Crusader's really our only good shotgun right now. Okay, so Valiant is too expensive, but we could go... Piranha was one of the things we were talking about. Wraith was one of the things we were talking about. Black Widow, we said, was somewhat interesting, but since we got the Javelin and we got it for free, maybe it's 125,000 credits that we just don't really need to spend. And, like I said, Valiant is too expensive for us to afford. Harrier is interesting from an assault rifle standpoint. It does hit really hard, of course. But then again, we have the Typhoon, so it's not super necessary. Yeah, Slasher, actually, I have a question. When it comes to, in the original Mass Effect 3 playthrough, of course, you can only upgrade your weapons up to level 5. And if you go New Game Plus, you can get them up to 10, right? However, is that any weapon on your second playthrough can go up to rank 10, or is it only weapons that you purchase in your first playthrough and upgrade to the maximum of rank 5, and then going on New Game Plus just allows you to that incremental 5 more levels? So is it always like 5 levels per game, or is it no matter what, after finishing your original playthrough and going on to New Game Plus, you can buy a weapon, even if it's your first time acquiring that weapon, and go straight from level 1 to level 10? Because there are some weapons in the general Presidium Commons area that we haven't purchased because we don't really expect to use them, but there are some interesting ones there. They're fun in some situations, and so, you know, if we can only get them up to rank 10, that by purchasing them here in the first playthrough and upgrading them up to rank 5, and then maybe that's reason enough to spend the money now. You think you can still go up to rank 10 even if you don't buy them in the first playthrough? Okay. So that, I think, takes away some of the urgency of buying other stuff. And we're purely just looking in the... I mean, if short-term qualifies as just this one playthrough, then, I mean, we're getting pretty late on in the game at this point, but yeah, I think in that case, we're talking shotgun. The question is, do we prioritize Piranha or do we prioritize the Wraith? Wraith is just so well-rounded, whereas Piranha is a little more specialized. Technically, might be capable of higher damage per second, but it is certainly shorter range, and it's basically a hybrid shotgun assault rifle. Kind of like it in that way because our other strong shotgun is the Crusader, and that is basically almost like a hybrid shotgun sniper rifle. So we have both extremes, and depending on what situation we find ourselves in for a mission, we can choose whichever one feels more appropriate. Theoretically, it's possible to get to rank 10, but it does take a ton of money. You guys think the Wraith? Alright. I think we can go Wraith. Wraith is still very, very strong, and we're not that far off from being able to get the Piranha as well, although it may be worth instead just upgrading the Wraith as much as possible once we get back to the Normandy. Yeah, okay. Nothing new there. So, and I mean, we can, I suppose, take a quick look at what the Wraith looks like. I know you guys familiar with Mass Effect 3 multiplayer are quite familiar with the Wraith, but for those of you who are just trying out Mass Effect for the first time, let's see. Any new weapons besides the Wraith? Oh, yes, that we've not yet used. Argus, I suppose we can do that real quick. It's not a weapon that I've used all that often, to be honest. Also, it would help if we actually switched to it. Not gonna lie, I looked at this little window, this wheel here, and as I read Argus, I totally read that as Angus. I was very confused for a second there. So, yeah, you know. So it's the Angus. Very powerful weapon, of course. Now, it's a fairly hard-hitting assault rifle, I think, but as I said, I don't have a ton of experience with it. A little bit slower firing, fair bit of kick. That's a general idea as to what it's all about, though. It's, when it comes to accuracy, it's, what, moderately, although not crazy accurate, although, I'm sure with some mods, you might be able to make it much more precise. So, is there anything else we've not yet at least shot a few times here in the range to show what it's all about? The Wraith. So why don't we do that? Any other shotguns, though? Because, yeah, right now it's what? Oh, Claymore. Claymore, I suppose, is also a solid shotgun for close range. So yeah, this could be our specialized close range shotgun. Crusaders are specialized long range shotgun, and then Death Plasma shotgun also solid, except we're mostly using this on squad mates, the shotguns, and it's not great on squad mates here because they don't really charge it up, same with the Grawl. And Raider, also good, short range. Not sure to what extent squad mates are smart enough to use that effectively, though. And then the Wraith is just, like I said, it's really well-rounded. Relatively light for a shotgun, still hits hard. Accuracy, if you put on the Smart Scope, which I won't just now, so you can see what it's like at its base level, and that's a pretty wide reticle, but why don't we reset some targets here, because it doesn't really help. We're looking at targets that are on sliver of HP. But yeah, that one-shot this guy, this fake target. Little less on the armor, but with its damage mitigation and shields, not bad either. Got rid of all those. So yeah, really strong weapon all around. Recently beat all 3 Mass Effect games on Legendary Edition on Insanity. It was very challenging. Yes, and I mean there are some. Aren't there some that you can only there's some that you can only get on New Game Plus? I forget. Depending on, at least in my case, since I didn't romance anyone in Mass Effect 1, I would need to. So in some cases, you know, if you're going for all the achievements, then that might be a requirement. But depends how you're going about doing it. And congratulations, well done. Wait, oh, you've only played the Legendary Edition 3 once. I was gonna say, Slasher, there's no way you've only played Mass Effect 3 once. Okay, anyways. So that's a look at the Crusader. Also, that's an unupgraded Crusader. Generally, you're going to want to put, I think, a Smart Choke on that, and then probably some form of additional damage. And once you do that, it's just a really solid all-purpose shotgun. So, you know, if you're trying to find a shotgun to pick up early, and you don't want to, and you just want to be able to put it on no matter what the mission, because you can't afford to have a, this is my long-range shotgun, this is my short-range shotgun, then Wraith is just really good for that. Okay, do we have anywhere else that we need to go? I mean, we could go to the Presidium Commons just to see if there are any other upgrades or weapons we want to pick up, but we've done this fairly often, and so I think we've really gotten, certainly all the low-hanging fruit, maybe even all the medium-hanging fruit, and at this point we're talking about mostly just those weapons we were alluding to previously that are fun, sometimes gimmicky, or at least only effective in niche situations with certain types of builds or characters, and so not really sure we need to pick them up right here, right now, so why don't we just head back to the Normandy docking bay, or in fact, we can even go straight back to Normandy. If we, oh, can we from here? No, I'm thinking of the Presidium Commons. Maybe there is a spot here, but we'll go to the docking bay then, I suppose. Only played about 3 to 4 times yourself? That does surprise me a little bit, but several that have stopped halfway through.
I'd like to request a transfer to a zone with Reaper, Sergeant.
Okay, well, we've heard this conversation before. Let's head back to Normandy. We'll upgrade the Wraith. because we might as well, I mean, we might even use it for one of, not personally, although we might use it on one of our squad mates for the next mission. Although, as shotguns go, if you're looking for one to use on a more power-based build, like we're running as an adept, then Wraith may even be your best option, because it is certainly on the lighter side. So let's see. I think upgrades are the primary thing we're looking to spend money on at this point. So other than, oh, there is one of those achievements for buying multiple full armor sets. I suppose that's one thing that we were, I think at one point saying we might as well try to do. But, so what are we thinking we want to prioritize upgrading here? There are a few things that are still potentially interesting, potentially usable if we were to upgrade them. I think there's one or two that we went by there. Oh, the Predator? No, not the Predator. Sorry, Slasher. Sorry, Slasher. I know you are perhaps a bit of a fan of the Predator, but what was it? I was thinking. Oh, we passed by one early. The Avenger, naturally, no. I'm a bit of a fan of the Carnifex, but the Geth, maybe I saw Pulse Rifle and I was thinking Plasma Shotgun, which is actually the thing that would be more. Also, excuse me? Is that really all we have? Am I going insane? Why is it dropping us back down to the Matic every time I do this, or face it? Okay. Just messing with my head. Where did weapon we just picked up, the Wraith, go? Where are you? Huh? Excuse me? We might have already upgraded the plasma shotgun. You see, am I going crazy? I go to Katana. Just, okay, it only drops us down by 1, and then it resets which weapon we've selected. So it is going further down. It's just going down in the least efficient way possible. That is so odd. That can't be the way that is supposed to happen. You see what's happening? It's only revealing one more option when I go down the bottom of the list. And then it bumps us back up to the middle of the list, which makes me feel like a deja vu all over again. 10 times in a row here. Yeah, Spike Thrower could potentially be worth upgrading. There it is. Get the Plasma Shotgun could potentially be worth upgrading, although for squad mates I don't think this is the best option, so maybe less so. For that reason, Claymore we could consider. We're looking for other shotguns. Yeah, Claymore and Wraith are the two that we were saying might be the best ways to have Crusader as our long range, Wraith as our general purpose, and then Claymore as our close range. So, and then Raider could also be a close range one, similar to the Claymore in that way. Oh, Widow. I mean, given how we have the Javelin, it's probably not necessary to upgrade this all that much, if at all. So, yeah, why don't we'll upgrade the Wraith. We'll prioritize that. Uriel choosing weapons. How dare you? How dare you? And there's an example of something that I deliberately set up the night before, because, as I said, oftentimes we're finishing these streams at about 5 a.m., 4 or 5 a.m., and so starting the next stream the following day at 1 p.m., and having to prep for that, does usually mean there is very little turnaround time. So, anything I can get ahead on is useful, and sometimes that means putting on the requests for weapons. Well, let's see. Do we want to... Oh, we said 45,000 credits remaining. Not that many. If we were interested in potentially purchasing the Piranha or another weapon after this next mission, then may have already priced ourselves out of that. Otherwise, if we want to shell out all of our monies now, we could upgrade the Plasma Shotgun. As I said, that's maybe not as interesting to us as, say, something like the Claymore or the Raider might be, but I don't think we're about to use either of these anyway, so let's save the money for now, and we now have fully upgraded Wraith and fully upgraded Crusader as our best couple of options from the shotgun perspective. Free-say requests incoming tomorrow. I mean, I'm up for it. I'm up for it. I'm down for the crazy weapons, because, for me, it's just like, when you go in knowing that you're going to use a crazy weapon, you just accept the fact that it's not going to be as powerful as the go-to meta weapons. But as long as you come in with that expectation, then, it's all about how you perform relative to those expectations, and If you're not underperforming, then you feel fine about it. You just have some fun with it. You don't take it too seriously. It's more so when it's like, okay, I'm using what's supposed to be a strong setup or some kind of thing that theoretically should be fine, and it's just not working out for me. That's the stuff that gets me more frustrated. But anyways, I think we're ready. Powerful in single player. Yeah. I mean, personally, we are, as an adept, we are keeping things really light on our personal loadout. So we're mostly just trying to find good options for our more weapons-based squad mates. And as Garrus is pretty much a staple on our team, he's pretty set with Javelin plus Typhoon, and so outside of that, that's Quitter's talk. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, I think we are finally ready to head over to Sanctuary. So, as a reminder as to what this is all about here, let's just take a quick look at a reminder. Our journal here. So, priority Horizon. Cerberus may be using the Sanctuary facility on Horizon as a cover for secret activity. Land on Horizon to search for clues about their operations. So Horizon, if that sounds familiar, it should, because this is a place that we visited in Mass Effect 2, was perhaps the first place in which we actually directly faced off against Collectors. We saw on a few occasions leading up to that, times when Collectors had attacked a colony, but we showed up just a step too late. Whereas this time we actually faced off against the Collectors, and we had what was one of, if not potentially, arguably, the most difficult mission in Mass Effect 2. What with the, I think was the first introduction to Scions, and there's a really nasty encounter with them, and then definitely the first introduction of the Praetorian, very dramatic introduction at that. So, very cool mission, but it was a difficult one then, and same planet this time, but this time we are going specifically to Sanctuary. So let us investigate. Yeah, and it is definitely a big mission, so I'm excited. Okay, so there is only one system here. Let's do some scanning first. In theory, since there's a mission here, that means we shouldn't get any Reaper attention. So in theory, we can scan to our heart's content. Now, sometimes we found there actually isn't anything on the systems that have main quest missions, so that perhaps remains to be seen, but we'll just expand this a little bit as we go around, make sure we hit all the planets. Not seen anything though, so in that case, let's just read up. We'll work our way from the outermost planet in toward, eventually, the innermost planet, and of course finish on Horizon, actually land there. Ooh, are they all named after visual novels? Perhaps. Sanctuary and Lessus. Good choices for sure. For me, thus far, the missions we've done at this stage, what would be my favorites? I mean, Leviathan was the last mission on Leviathan certainly was a lot of fun. I mean, Leviathan in general, very, very cool tone. I like the missions that feel like they have a very different and intentional tone to them. Lessus is definitely among them. Leviathan as well. Both give more horror themes. Usually I'm not much of a horror guy because I find that it feels pretty empty. Just like jump scares for the sake of jump scares, but no substance behind them. Whereas, no, in the case of both Lessus and Leviathan, there's a lot of nuance to it. It's not just random horror for the sake of random horror. Thessia irritates you? How was Thessia? Thessia, I mean, we brought Javik, that was a lot of fun to experience that. I had not done that before, so I think that made it very interesting. And then, I mean, what? There's a few banshees that can chase you down. There was some harvesters that may or may not have messed with us a little bit. And Kai Lame, we just annihilated him so much that he actually didn't even touch us, which was kind of hilarious as he attempted to trash talk us and just came nowhere near doing what he thought he was doing. He was trying to seem like he was all that, and he very much was not. Alright, well anyways. First we have Watchmen, perched on the outer edge of eras, small solar system. I guess that makes sense for Watchman. Watchman is a mid-sized rock and ice planet and that has picked up a dozen moon-sized objects. Its nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere is too thin to support life, with solid ice covering its calcium-heavy rocky core. The footprints of Watchman's first surveyors can still be seen on its practically airless surface. The planet, devoid of valuable resources, has seen few visitors since. Sorry, Watchman, sounds like not a lot of reason for people to be heading over there. So there is obviously Horizon next. Let's read up on it, but then we'll continue on to the other planets of the system, then we'll come back here to actually land and do the mission. A temperate world that has hit the sweet spot for carbon-based life. Horizon has a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere maintained by abundant plants and bacteria. Its soil is particularly compatible with Earth vegetation, and so a thriving human community has sprung up. Horizon's population is in flux. A collector attack in 2185 inflicted significant casualties. That is, of course, the mission that I was referring to, that we did in Mass Effect 2, but refugees have been streaming to the planet since the Reaper invasion began. That's a little odd. Since many land illegally, there's no way to accurately track population. Although many colonists resent the newcomers, others have embraced Horizon's new world. Advertisements for Sanctuary, its main refugee center, can be seen galaxy-wide. I do wonder, do we know where Sanctuary is relative to the part of Horizon that we were on in Mass Effect 2? Because it's one thing if we visited one section of Horizon in Mass Effect 2 that got directly attacked by collectors, and then Sanctuary, the place where people seem to be flooding now, is on the total opposite side of the planet, where at least you can sort of make the case, don't worry, yeah, they attacked this planet, but it was in a totally different spot. We're safe here. Whereas if it is quite literally exactly the same spot that the collectors attacked in Mass Effect 2, then that's a little more suspect, you know? Does raise quite a few more questions in that case. I mean, it's 13 degrees Celsius, that's a little bit on the cool side, but that's the average temperature. In the hotter places, that could be quite nice, and a little bit lighter than gravity and thick atmospheric pressure, but otherwise, I mean, it's livable, certainly. So that is, of course, where the mission will be, but let's first just read up on these other planets, and then we'll head over. So we have Prospect next, which is a hydrogen-nitrogen gas giant with 13 known moons. Early scans of the moons revealed dense deposits of heavy metals, prompting a resource rush by colonists from Horizon. Unfortunately, a galactic uranium surplus drove half the mining firms out of business, and the moon's surfaces are littered with the bodies of executives who committed suicide by airlock. Sounds like Javik might have had something to do with that. Today's mining corporations hold more diversified and sustainable portfolios. Prospect is within the frost line of its solar system, where ice giants do not normally form. For this reason, it is believed to have been an extrasolar capture. Serby likes to do things on the cheap. That, outside of the Lazarus Project, maybe. Somehow, they do seem to have bottomless pockets. Venture is the last one. Venture is a pressure cooker of a planet with its thick nitrogen-based atmosphere, is almost a source of wealth for small colonist industry. Although Venture's high temperatures are brutal, the primordial soup is not as acidic as on other hothouse planets. This allows recovery bots to collect xenon from the lower troposphere. This xenon is then sold for use in ion drives and some electric lights. Venture's gravity is relatively low for a planet of its size, making the recovery more economical than would otherwise be expected. Okay, I mean, it's still pressure cooker, 21, almost 22 Earth atmospheres worth of pressure and almost 400 degrees Celsius. So yeah, I would not be too keen on going there myself. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise you if Cerberus went and created a colony right where the collectors had attacked. Okay. Oh, and Uriel, you love Thessia based on the whole Asari secrets that you hold against. I mean, I'll be honest, Uriel, I remember when we were playing Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, you had expressed your disdain for the Asari, and I didn't really remember the nuance of what we learn about them in Mass Effect 3 on Thessia. And yeah, you know, there's certainly a little more dirt on the Asari than I had remembered that we uncovered on Thessia. You know, the whole, hey, by the way, we have this amazing technology from the collectors, the kind of technology, or rather the Protheans, kind of technology that could potentially advance the entire galaxy significantly. Oh, but by the way, we're just going to keep that to ourselves. A little contrived? Huh. Interesting. Yeah. I'd have to look back at, all the things that happen on Thessia to see, how that sort of could fit in. I mean, also, personally, I have a weakness for any of the planets that are on major species homeworlds. I always love those just because I love seeing what it is that has shaped the species that, we obviously have known the Asari all the way dating back to pretty much the beginning of Mass Effect 1, or very early in Mass Effect 1, but only till almost the end of Mass Effect 3. Only then do we actually see what it is that the place that the Asari call home. I am not playing on the Xbox PC controller mod, though I am using a controller. Alright, well anyways, let's stop over at Horizon, because we have a very big mission to do here. Okay, and so, for this mission, in terms of who we'd like to take with us, well, I think when it comes to what we want to prepare for, we're talking about needing to be ready for a wide variety of enemies and defenses, and so picking a versatile team here is probably what you're looking for. And so we, of course, are providing all the biotics we could possibly need for the most part. I mean, that being said, however, having Liara could be very useful because she has stasis, which for some specific enemies is extremely useful. So you can make a strong case for Liara based on that alone. Other than that, given how we have a lot of crowd control ability and good armor damage with all of our biotics, and barrier damage to a certain extent as well, it's mostly shields that we're most concerned about. Uriel? What? Possibly. I will not discuss further to avoid spoilers, but we shall see. Let's just say a lot of stuff can happen on this mission, because it is a big one. So, shields, I think, are the primary thing that we're trying to deal with here, because that's our biggest weakness as an adept. And so, Garrus has been great because he has Overload, which is certainly, obviously, an anti-shields ability, but he, outside of that, provides amazing weapons damage for taking out basically anything else. So for that reason, he's a strong candidate. Also, for what it's worth, we brought Garrus with us when we went to Horizon in Mass Effect 2. I think we brought Garrus and Kasumi. So if we're trying to, do a little bit of a nostalgia run, turn back the clock, and recreate history, then perhaps that's a reason to bring Garrus as well. So he's a strong candidate. And then for more plot-related reasons, there's some reason to take Tali. I think in terms of her skill set for this mission, might be a little bit of a harder sell. Yes, she's great against shields, but she's more of a shields specialist. And, if we're taking both Tali and Garrus, that might be a little bit overkill on that side of things, but maybe we can still make do. I think Garrus plus Liara, which is our most common combo in this playthrough, probably still the go-to, but we're gonna try. I think we'll try going Garrus and Tali here. Right, Garrus for firepower. Yeah, you could definitely bring Ashley as well. There's, because that is where we met Ashley briefly in Mass Effect 2. Okay, and so in terms of weapons, I think we're all set here. Acolyte, this does give us some shield, ways to deal with shields ourselves, but it's pretty much the only way we can do that. And then Hurricane also looks good. And Garrus, I think, no reason to change anything here. Javelin plus Typhoon. The question is primarily for Tali. Scorpion, that probably sticks, but it's Crusader, or do we switch this over to the Claymore for more short-range damage? Crusader's, of course, long-range damage, primarily, although, it can work short-range. Or we could alternatively go for what we just picked up, that being the Wraith, which is more all-purpose. Really? Is this the mission in which the Garrus ascension to godhood really took place? Because I mean, I always think of it as all the harvester missions in which you just say, Garrus, go shoot at that. And you watch how quickly the life bar goes. Bloop. This is on tally. This is on tally, Uriel. On us, we've got the Acolyte and we've got the Hurricane, so we're on like 191% cooldown, so we're totally fine. The question is with Tally. And, I mean, we just picked up the Wraith, so why don't we try this out a little bit? Definitely, I think we're going to want to go Smart Choke to increase the accuracy. Once you do that, it is a surprisingly accurate shotgun, even at decent range. Definitely not as accurate as the Crusader. Basically, nothing is from a shotgun standpoint, but then we take the base damage, or do we take a little bit of piercing, perhaps? Probably a little bit of piercing. I have a Tally-shaped blind spot. Yeah, so I think we'll go Wraith plus Scorpion on Tally. We have, yeah, see, Hurricane plus Acolyte, and we're on 191, so we should be certainly fine from a cooldown standpoint. And then Garrus, Javelin plus Typhoon. So yeah, we've had plenty of time for Garrus to prove his worth from his ascension to godhood, because we basically, I deliberately delayed all of the missions with harvesters in them as much as possible in order to get him as highly upgraded as possible, both from a skills and weapons standpoint, so that we could see, to the greatest extent possible, how much damage he is really packing, and it is impressive. Especially with, on one of those missions, we also brought Ashley with him, and she also has a Typhoon, and may, in fact, have more damage than he does in Mass Effect 3, because she has Marksman, whereas he does not. So, it was impressive, especially when you combine them both together, but Garrus alone is still a force to be reckoned with.
So what do we know, Shepard? Edie?
The Sanctuary facility was devoted to aiding refugees from Reaper-controlled systems. The facility went offline recently, and no communications have come or gone since. It is unclear why Kai Lang or Cerberus would be interested in Sanctuary.
Okay. Well, I guess that means we have to find out.
If there's a clue to Cerberus here, we find it.
Sir, I'm picking up a signal from the facility. It's weak. I'll try to boost it.
This is Oriana Lawson. Stay away from Sanctuary. It's not what it seems. Please, you must listen to me. They're using...
Oriana? That's Miranda's sister. If she's here, Miranda can't be far away.
That's our link to Cerberus.
Approaching the LZ. Seeing some damage, Commander, but no activity.
Cerberus does not get the jump on us this time. Stay sharp, people.
Pretty big mess, Shepard. Lots of combat.
Yeah, but who was fighting?
Alright, so here we are, on Horizon, at Sanctuary. Before we get moving here, let's make sure we have at least Garrus activate his armor-piercing ammo on both of his weapons. He has personal ammo, not squad ammo, but could do this preemptively, just so we're ready to go as soon as things start getting hot. Then probably going to want to keep him on the Typhoon, generally speaking, although there may be some situations in which we want to switch over to the Javelin. For Tally, I think Wraith is probably going to be our default weapon for her, since that is so well-rounded, and then we'll probably default to the Acolyte. Let's save now that we're actually setting foot here, and then, I mean, take a look around. It does look quite nice, outside of the wreckage, but, you know, you've got the nice, lush greenery, and you can sort of picture what it would have looked like had we not arrived after what appears to have been some kind of battle.
Everyone hear that?
The radio's offline. Something's jamming our signals.
Explains no comms leaving the facility.
Okay, and as a reminder, do we have any updates on what we're looking to do here? Just land on Horizon, search for clues about the operations of this Cerberus facility. So not a lot of detail. Not a lot of detail, I'm afraid. Oh, this defense matrix is not on. Good thing we put it on. Otherwise, that could have been a bit of a problem. Also, I was a little surprised we didn't see the squad menu pop up here at the beginning of the mission. Maybe that is because nobody can afford to make any upgrades. Fair enough. Yeah, I think all of the missions we've been doing recently toward the end of the game, including Leviathan, really amp up the tension in a really effective way.